Tvam dharma sammudha cheta yat shreyasya nishchitam broti tanme Shishyaste ham shadhima tvam prapannam dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara prapter dhiras tatra namutyati. So you can repeat after me these shlokas. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः
नायं भूत्वा भवितवा न भूयः
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे
न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Any two devotees can recite the shloka 20.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Ramareddy.
न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भाविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Any other devotee?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nityaha shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
So let's do the next one. And again, two more new devotees can recite that after me. So please repeat after me. Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam Tayapahrita chetasam
तयापहृतचेतसाम्
Vyavasayatmika buddhi
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः
Samadhau na vidhiyate.
समाधौ न विधीयते.
Any two different devotees can recite.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, please go ahead.
भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया पाहृत चेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधौ न विधीयते. Hare Krishna. Thank you Prabhuji.
Any one more devotee?
ऐश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया पाहृत चेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते.
Thank you. Actually, one thing I wanted to tell, but I kept forgetting every session, but it has become, I think, high time to tell it. See, you all have this shloka recitation test. In every unit, there will be some well-defined shlokas which you have to memorize and tell the translation of it, at least paraphrase the complete meaning. So in Bhagavadgita units, the number is more. In the first unit, there are 12 shlokas. In the second unit, that is 7 to 12, there are around 16 shlokas. Yeah. And in the 13th to 18th chapter unit, there are around 14 or 12 shlokas. So usually, the teacher who teaches, or the primary teacher who manages the batch, he conducts the shloka test. There is some freedom for how he wants to conduct the test. So in my personal way of functioning in the batch, in the service of teacher, I have observed that if the test is split into two parts, and devotees can memorize half number of the shlokas in each of the part, and they give the test. Say the first test happens in the middle of the teaching of in the middle of the unit. Say suppose when we touch third chapter, or maybe touching the fourth chapter. So we can have first part of the shloka test where 6 shlokas are tested. And after the end, that is the 6th chapter completes, then the remaining 6 shlokas are tested for memorization. And this test, it happens on a specific date. So this is how one of the ways I was conducting the test. Another way, as you might have noted in the earlier unit, is that one of the date at the end of 6 chapters, all the 12 shlokas are tested. So I want to ask here, because it's important to decide it now itself. How do you want it?
Half of sloka, Prabhuji.
Yeah, first option.
So please, Dasaraj Prabhu is here. Oh, who else would can help in getting this poll or
Prabhuji,
something?
he's on a call, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Just he got an important call. I'll ask him to.
yeah. So I hope all of you understood. So if you can show up a majority for whichever option, accordingly we will have to plan. So the dates of the first part of the test will mostly be given out in the next class itself, because we are now almost in the mid of the second chapter, which is the biggest chapter in this unit, and second chapter itself has 4 shlokas, third chapter has 1 more shloka, and fourth chapter has many more shlokas. So we will send out the date, because the planning of the unit classes and all are almost done in that sense. So you all have to prepare. But the point is, everyone has to agree on an option and they have to give test on those days. You cannot say, I missed it, can I give all the shlokas together later? No. If everyone is agreeing for one common decided option, both cannot happen. I hope all of you appreciate this. And when the tests will happen, the dates, mostly since the batch size is around 20 or so, we will have it 4 classes distributed. Means the regular classes, the end of the classes, say for 20 minutes we have the test. Each day there may be around 4 or 5. That way 5 into 4, 20 will get easily covered. Say suppose Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday. The 4 classes, at the end of those 4 classes, the 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. And I say this very clearly, that you cannot, all of us cannot crowd in on the last day. The fixed number of devotees per day. You cannot make it more, because it also becomes difficult for me to spend more time on one day in that sense. So I'm just putting out all the conditions. It's important that we memorize the shloka. Srila Prabhupada wanted it very much, that devotees should know the shloka by heart, especially the preachers. These are very simple shlokas, very famous shlokas of Gita. It should not be very difficult if one is a regular reader of Bhagavadgita. Yes, Varun Prabhu, you have a point?
Right, Prabhuji, so the question is, will we be asked like the shloka number and we'll have to recite the shloka?
You will be prompted with the first word of the shloka. The number is not really that necessary. If you can remember, that's an additional thing. Okay. But number wise, we won't check.
Okay. And what about the translation?
Translation should be covering all the aspects of Prabhupada's translation. It could be in your own words.
Okay.
That you have to do it on your own. There will not be any prompting.
Okay.
It's just your own words you are left to do.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, word to word.
Not. That's okay. That's for you to understand. So when we are discussing every shloka, I explain little about the words. If you just remember them, you will be able to make the translations from it. That's the traditional way to learn.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. So is that clear? So I would like to know at this point that which is the option many devotees would like to take up.
Half of Prabhuji.
How many would like to go for the first option of having the shloka test in 2 parts? You can show up a hand raise so that we understand. Let's count it. Varun Prabhu, can you help us with the count? Tell us.
Okay.
Yeah. The first option of shloka test in 2 parts. The second option is about having one once only the test. All the 12 shlokas. And that will be
Nine hand raised, Prabhuji, as of right now.
9. Okay. Okay.
Prabhuji, I am in, but my hand is not raised in, malab, it's not coming there. But I am in.
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhuji, for me
fine.
also, Prabhuji. I am also okay, Prabhuji. Half of shlokas.
Okay. So Varun Prabhu has noted. We will today put up on the group also this poll. Just I am trying to understand because I have to plan the dates and timings accordingly. The second option also will be put on the group. If someone wants to have that option, show it up, and we will go with majority. Varun Prabhu, you put it on the group. I am not able to communicate with Dasash Prabhu, so please help on this.
Okay. Prabhuji, I'll ask him to communicate, Prabhuji. I'll ask Dasraj Prabhu to communicate.
So in the next session, please tell me which option is commonly decided.
Yeah,
by
he will message to Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay.
Before the next class only he'll
See,
message.
this practice of reciting in every class is important. Just by that practice itself, you will get the recitation, memorization a lot. So with some experience, and especially having to see people who are very busy in their schedule, and especially as the age goes, memorization ability reduces. Seeing that this is something which I have come to realize, this way it would be most effective. So that's why we do it. So though it may look very, very childish, if I can say, but it's the best way to learn. You practice the memorization. Okay. So let me now go. Please put your hands down. That's fine. Let me now go to discuss on the shlokas we had ended last time. So last time we had discussed about the almost the 30 shlokas had completed. The first 2 sections of Bhagavadgita had completed. So the first part, which is Arjuna's surrender, which comes in the first 10 shlokas. And later, Krishna starts speaking the Atma Vidya, Atma Jnana, wherein there is a lot of analysis, analytical study, also called as Sankhya, Jnana. That came, it was one of the major sections of this chapter, around 20 shlokas. Krishna is establishing that eternality of spirit soul. And based on that, he gives the instruction to fight. Now, today we will see from 31 shloka onwards, a second motivation for Arjuna to fight, and that destroys or defeats the second argument of Arjuna. What was the second argument of Arjuna for not fighting?
Loss of enjoyment.
Loss of enjoyment. And that will be addressed in the third section, which we will study today. And today, Krishna willing, we will also enter the third section, fourth section, which is called Buddhi Yoga, one of the very brilliant sections of this chapter. Very, in one sense, very striking section of this chapter, Buddhi Yoga, which actually addresses the third reason of Arjuna for not fighting. What was that? Any of you remember? Third reason?
Fear of sinful reactions.
Fear of sinful reactions. So far, the Buddhi Yoga motive for doing one's duty, actually it rises a person above all types of karmic reactions. And of course, there is one more section we will see in the future session. So far in our discussions, we have seen so many analogies, very important. I'm just reviewing them. You may remember this, that how spirit soul is situated in the region of heart, but we may not see the soul at the region of heart. Just like the sun, who is there in the horizon, but not visible to our eyes. But just because there is light in the sky, that indicates the presence of the sun. Similarly, the presence of consciousness indicates the presence of the soul. This was an important analogy. We also saw the analogy of how violence should be rightly utilized. Just like it should be utilized under the authority, in knowledge. Just like there is this justice of peace. He awards punishment to a criminal. So he is committing violence, but that violence is according to the constitution or the law codes, and he is not getting any reaction for it. In fact, he is doing it for the benefit of that criminal. Similarly, when Arjuna is fighting, he is fighting on the order of Lord Krishna, and he is not going to get any reaction for it, though he is apparently committing violence. There was one another example to show about right use of violence. Any of you remember?
Surgical surgery of a doctor.
Very right. Surgery, surgical operation. As a doctor also looks to even cut open the body of the patient, such a violent act. But he's in knowledge and he's doing it to cure the disease. Similarly, Arjuna is fighting and killing the enemies, and thus he's curing their disease, the material disease of sinful propensity. So like this, we have seen so far so many important sections, analogies. They are very, very important to understand them. So let us now go to the shloka number 30, which was the last shloka we had seen last time. Just a minute, just hold on. Hare Krishna. So, who is reading for first part of today's discussion?
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Okay, please read the translation of 30.
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
So, Krishna gave a lot of instructions about the spirit soul. Some of the qualities we had seen last time. Can someone quickly revise what are all qualities? What qualities we had seen about soul?
Eternal, Prabhuji. Eternal.
Soul is individual.
Individual, very good.
It doesn't change.
It doesn't change. Like the body, it doesn't change.
Like resides in the within the body.
It resides within the body. It is different from the body.
It has consciousness.
It has consciousness. Very good. Very good.
You cannot measure it.
Yeah, it cannot change.
It's all pervading. It's all pervading.
It's all pervading. Very good. It's present everywhere.
And
cannot
it's
measure
immovable.
Say again.
We cannot measure it.
We cannot measure it. It's immeasurable. Very nice.
We cannot force it to move. Immovable.
Yeah, it's immovable. Achalaha.
It can't be killed, Prabhuji.
It cannot be killed by any type of weapon. Very right. Any type of weapon. Very good. Any others? Any other? It's invisible.
It's the oldest.
It's oldest.
It's the oldest.
It's the oldest Purana. Yeah, it's invisible, inconceivable, immutable. Like this, there are so many.
Ajanma, unborn.
Ajanma, it's unborn. Very right. And it's greatly wonderful. Yeah, yes.
Nitya. Ajanma, Nitya, Shashwat, and Purana.
Shashwata, it is. Yeah, like that. Correct. Very right. All of you told it very well. So these are some of the qualities of the spirit soul. Someone told something? Okay. So Prabhupada says in the purport that so far Krishna described about the immutable soul. The chapter of the instruction on the immutable soul is concluded. So though one may not theoretically verify it by one's own senses and mind and intelligence, one should accept that there is soul on the authority of Sri Krishna, on the authority of Bhagavadgita. But accepting the soul doesn't mean that one can encourage violence. Anyway, body is going to change and soul cannot be changed. So it doesn't mean that one can harm the body unnecessarily. It has to be justified according to the Shastra, proper authority. So that Prabhupada explains the shloka. So today we enter the third section of this chapter, which is Karma Kanda. So before I take up this section, I want to give a little background of this. What is this actually? So we all know that there is this concept of yoga ladder. Have you heard this? Hare Krishna. Anytime? You've heard. There is this concept called yoga ladder. So just like we have ladder by which we rise above, one step above, one step above, one step, like that. So in Bhagavadgita, there is a description of several types of yoga. It's called Yoga Shastra. Last time I had explained about this. So Bhagavadgita very systematically elevates a person's consciousness from the lowermost position to highest position. It tells about different stages of growth of one's consciousness. So in the course of rising, what is the least consciousness one can have? That is called animal life, wherein a person is focused only and only about his bodily happiness, like an animal, say a dog or a cat. What does it most worry about? What does an animal worry about?
Food, shelter.
Food, shelter. Where can he sleep? Where can he eat? How can he get always food? How can he protect his belongings? Is it not? These are its basic thinking, and that is animal consciousness. Pashuvat Jivana, it's called. So animal consciousness, it can be in even a human, very, very much, is it not? A person who only thinks of just increasing his happiness. That is animal consciousness. In animal consciousness, people don't care or even want to know about any rules or regulations. Like an animal, can you force some rules and regulations on an animal? Hey, today you cannot eat, tomorrow there is Ekadashi, you cannot eat tomorrow, fast. Or can you force it to tell that you should take bath, you should do this? No, animal doesn't care about it. It doesn't have that understanding to follow, that determination to follow. So those people who don't care to follow any type of regulations and just are absorbed in sense gratification, they are in the lowermost consciousness, that is animal consciousness, animal life. It could be a human being, but who has that consciousness also. Most of the people are in this. Prabhupada calls the word moodha for this word. The next step above is called Karma Kanda. In Karma Kanda, a person is still desiring material happiness, but he has agreed to follow the rules and regulations because he knows that by following the rules and regulations, he will get better happiness. Very important. What is the goal of a person in the consciousness of Karma Kanda? What is his goal?
To get the fruitive result.
Be happy. Be happy.
To be happy, to basically get material enjoyment, fruitive results or material enjoyment. But he has agreed to follow the rules and regulations, which are given in Shastras like Vedas. He knows that, by following Vedas, I can get best amount of happiness. In fact, Vedas tell about how to live happily in this world. So he follows Karma Kanda. The next step, which comes above it, is called Karma Yoga, wherein a person, he is not having the goal as material enjoyment, but he wants to, in fact, go out of this material world. It's because he has seen that in this world, whenever he desires happiness, he also gets distress. In fact, more amount of distress than happiness. So much effort is there for getting little happiness, but so much of distress comes along with it. So knowing this, he desires to get out of this world. That's why the word comes yoga. There are two sections in this called Sakama Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga. Okay, so this is Karma Yoga. So what's the goal of a person in Karma Yoga consciousness?
To get liberated
out of the world.
To get liberated or get out of the material. So in the Sakama level, a person is still not pure. He is attached to enjoying the results also, some material enjoyment also, and he also has the desire to get out of the material world. Sakama. And as he advances, this desire to enjoy, which is in one sense attachment to the results of action, it keeps reducing, and at one point of perfection, Nishkama Karma Yoga, there is no attachment to results. So Krishna talks about this a lot in Bhagavadgita, Nishkama Karma Yoga. This is the discussion in the 4th section of 2nd chapter. I will again revisit this sequence at that time. So there are a few more sections about Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Just a line of description now, because right now that's not the subject of discussion. Jnana Yoga is when a person, he in fact has no attachment to the activity also. Means he completely leaves all kind of actions or duties. He takes to renunciation, something at the stage of sannyasa. And Ashtanga Yoga is when a person, in Jnana Yoga, he has developed that desire to know the absolute truth by knowledge. And in Ashtanga Yoga, he tries to connect with the absolute truth by meditation. It's also called Dhyana Yoga, which Krishna talks in 6th chapter. And in Bhakti Yoga, which is considered the highest position in yoga, wherein a person, he loves the absolute truth as a person, and he follows everything that pleases absolute truth, the Supreme Lord. That's the highest rank. More description about them will come in further chapters. So why am I talking about this is, Krishna spoke about, actually so far about spirit soul. That's a knowledge. Now he will speak about the second stage in this yoga ladder, which is Karma Kanda. So please know, when we move in discussion, sometimes we refer to certain sections of this yoga ladder. So this is there in Upanishads, the yoga ladder. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna puts it so clearly with no unclear terms. He puts it very, very clearly. Okay. So any comment or question on this before we go to the shlokas? I hope it is clear.
Prabhuji, how is the animal life defined in chapter 2?
How is animal life?
You said the first ladder.
It's the basic consciousness which any jiva in this world has. That is to seek happiness. Okay. Like animal. You don't need to train an animal. It's a default consciousness. Animal consciousness.
Basically, you are not aware of your own real position. You are in a mere bodily concept.
Yes.
That is all which is being told in 30th shloka.
30th? No, not 30. There is no description of animal consciousness.
No, I mean, that is what Krishna is trying to tell, that about the soul. He's giving the qualities of the soul.
Yeah. So when we understand about spirit soul, in the Karma Kanda stage, there is understanding of spirit soul. Little about it. But in Karma Yoga, there is complete understanding of spirit soul.
So now from 31st shloka, the Karma Kanda ladder starts, or?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Karma Kanda is started. Okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go to the shlokas. So Krishna talks about Karma Kanda. See, Karma Kanda, sometimes it's used in a very negative understanding. To understand it objectively, what it means a person is seeking enjoyment of this world, but he is very strictly following the rules and regulations of Shastra, that is Vedas. He is very dutiful. He is very religious. But the goal of his piety, religion, or dutifulness is to gain happiness of this world. In one sense, you can say it's a religious materialism. He follows the regulations. He's very dutiful. In a positive light, it is explained as swadharma. He understands, yeah, I should follow my duties. Why? Because by that, I will become better in the next life. So he has understanding about future life. That means he has understanding of spirit soul. Is it not? If someone has an understanding of future life, next life, that means he has understanding of spirit soul. The soul changes from one body to another body. Oh, how can I have better happiness in the next body? That is his concern. And he follows everything required for that. So let us discuss the shlokas which further describe it. Repeat after me. Swadharmam api chavekshya
Swadharmam
Apichavekshya
na vikampitum arhasi
Navikampitum arhasi
dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat
Dharmarayudhi Yudhashcheyo
satriyasya na vidyate.
Kshatriyasya na vidyate.
So Krishna says, hey Arjuna, so far we understood about the soul. From the soul's perspective, we saw. Now see it from the perspective of Swadharma. Swadharmam api cha avekshya. If you consider, aveksha means to consider. If you consider Swadharma, na vikampitum arhasi, you don't have reason to lament if you consider about from the perspective of Swadharma. One problem was viewed from the angle of spirit soul. Now it is viewed from the angle of Swadharma. Okay, so from the Swadharma perspective also, Arjuna, you don't have reason to lament. In fact, dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyo. If you see from Swadharma, the fight is better for you. Especially for a Kshatriya, the battle or fight is better. That's your duty. Please read the translation.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation.
So for a Kshatriya, there is a duty to fight. And if one does one's duty, that's a better engagement for him. So Prabhupada explains what it means as Kshatriya. What are his duties? That's explained in the part of the purport. He says, in the Varna Ashrama system, the Varna means social life. There are 4 Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So Kshatriya means what? Please read the highlighted part.
Kshat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. Rayate, to give protection. To give protection. So Kshatriya has duty to give protection to the rest of the society. Brahmanas, Vaishyas, Shudras. In fact, the whole society depends on Kshatriya for protection. It's an administrative class. It's a protection giving class. So sometimes a Kshatriya will have to use violence because he has to protect people from those who want to affect harm. So he will have to practice violence. In fact, there are certain activities which only Kshatriya can do, like hunting, like practicing martial arts, many things like that. So there are Kshatriyas who have to keep their skill of fighting very much alive by practice through hunting, through martial arts, many things like that. So they should not say that I will take to non-violence. So no. Kshatriyas cannot say that I will become non-violent. In fact, in the history, if you see even the recent history, when a king took to non-violence, when a king took to a certain sect which tells about non-violence, there was, in fact, so much irreligion started coming in the society.
So Kshatriya cannot say that I will not harm other person. In fact, Kshatriya, his position in the society is such that those irreligious people, they fear to do anything wrong. That was the situation when Parikshita, Parikshit, the great king Parikshit, he was very generous, very kind, very compassionate. But how did he behave when Kali, the Kali Purusha, the personified Kali, he entered the kingdom? He was ready to kill him. Only when the Kali took shelter, trying to surrender unto him, did he give life for him, in the sense he gave some place to stay for him. Even Yudhishthira, even great devotees who are in this role of Kshatriyas, they can never say that I will be non-violent. No, that's a strictly no. So Prabhupada says there could be some diplomacy in the name of non-violence, but that's not a principle. Diplomacy means, okay, if the other party comes for a peace treaty, okay, we will not be violent. If this party comes and have a peace treaty, we will not do anything to them. They are okay. They are permitted inside. So if someone else comes and does some wrong activity, then that is strictly no. So there could be some diplomatic strategy of non-violence, but that's never a duty of Kshatriya. Non-violence is a duty of Brahmana. If you see in Bhagavadgita 18th chapter, Krishna tells the qualities of Brahmana. There he lists non-violence. Satyam, Kshama, Ahimsa, all these are listed as the qualities of Brahmana. But for Kshatriya, it is listed Teja, Shaurya, Dhriti, Dakshya, Yuddha, Apalayanam, all these kind of qualities. So, though it looks very cruel that Kshatriya is doing violence, but please know that the Shastras say, just as a Brahmana does the religious duties of doing sacrifices, and whatever destination he attains, the same destination is given to a Kshatriya who takes his weapon and protects the subjects from those who are inflicting harm. Like it's told here, killing on the back. Can you read this, Madhuji? Killing on the battlefield.
Killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved.
So both are governed by religious principles. So Kshatriya, though he has to practice the skills, martial arts, and he may do hunting, or he may even in fact kill the enemy on the battlefield. Though it looks violence, he is given a higher destination in the next life. And just similarly, Brahmana who follows the Vedic scriptures, and he may in fact offer an animal in the sacrificial fire. Sometimes this is understood. Why is there a need to kill an animal in the sacrifice? We should understand what is it, the procedure behind. So an animal, usually an old animal, is offered in the sacrifice. And if the sacrifice has been properly performed, then that animal is in fact given a higher body in the next life. That's a human body. Can you imagine an animal which had to endure the rest of the life in animal body, now is suddenly given a higher body because it sacrificed its life in the Vedic sacrifice or a yajna, like that. So though apparently it looks, oh, just see, they are killing animals in the sacrifice. No, that's not an indiscriminate killing like the killing of today for satisfying one's tongue. No, it's not like that. And if someone who sacrifices the animal in the yajna, but if the yajna is not properly performed, then it is told that the sin of killing that animal comes on that priest. So knowing well these kind of heavy consequences, people are very careful. In fact, Prabhupada says in today's day and age, where the priestly class, the Brahmanas, because they are not pure in their actions and intentions, and the ingredients of the yajna are not pure. So animal killing is practically prohibited in the age of Kali. There are 5 things which are strictly prohibited in the age of Kali, though they are told in the Vedic scriptures, like it is told killing of cow, killing of Ashwamedha, Gavalambam, like this, there are certain activities, though they are told in Vedas, but in Kali Yuga, they have to be, they cannot be practiced because people don't have such good consciousness or pure consciousness like that. So the killing of enemies on the battlefield by a Kshatriya is equivalent to offering of an animal by a Brahmana in a Vedic sacrifice. So both yield same type of result, So in fact, they have to be seen in that light. Then Prabhupada describes about Swadharma, very important concept which is coming here. So please read this. In fact, you can read the whole paragraph. Very important. Please read this.
There are two kinds of swadharmas, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties on his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's swadharma, specific duty, becomes spiritual and is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas respectively, and these duties are unavoidable. Such swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. On the bodily plane, swadharma is called varnashrama dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of varnashrama dharma, or specific duty in terms of the specific modes of the nature of the body obtained. Discharging one specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authority serves to elevate one to a higher status of life.
So there are two types of swadharma. Very important. Please note this. There is the dharma. Actually, earlier also I described dharma. It means duty. It also means nature. Like Prabhupada tells, the dharma of the salt is to taste salty. The dharma of the water is to be liquid and flowing. Is it not? It has in famous lectures, many lectures like this. So dharma of the soul is to serve the Supreme Lord. That's the service to the Supreme Lord, and love and serve the Supreme Lord. So dharma means duty and also nature. So when one follows one's nature, that is in fact told as the duty of that person. So here there are two swadharmas. Swa means self. So when one considers oneself as body, there is duty for the body, which is called, what is it called? Varnashrama dharma. So duty for the body includes here the gross body and mind, intelligence, and even false ego, ahankar. So all this is included in the bodily plane. Okay, so that's the swadharma for the body. Now we also understand we have a higher identity. In fact, that's the true identity, that is spirit soul. So there is dharma for the spirit soul. What is it called? We have read that in
Sanatan Dharma.
Very right. We had seen that in introduction. Prabhupada talked about Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana Dhama, many things like that. Is it not? That's in fact prayojana of reading Shastras of Bhagavadgita. So these two dharmas, Varnashrama Dharma and Sanatana Dharma, both are there. So when one is not pure, in the sense one has not attained spiritual perfection, one has to do both the duties. But when one becomes completely liberated, then what remains and what's not there?
Sanatan Dharma.
Only Sanatan Dharma. So dharma is there always. Okay, either in conditioned state or liberated state. In conditioned state, in fact, one has to also follow Varnashrama Dharma. And Varnashrama Dharma is such that it makes one favorable for Sanatana Dharma. That's the goal of Varnashrama Dharma.
Prabhuji, then in Varnashrama Dharma, one cannot be liberated.
One is not liberated yet. Yeah. It's not about can he be liberated or not. Actually, Varnashrama dharma in itself cannot liberate. One has to practice devotional service. That only liberates a person. Just by practicing Varnashrama dharma, no one goes beyond this world.
So
in fact, the goal of
like he is performing the devotional services. He is in a Varna ashrama, so he is not performing the Sanatana dharma.
He is performing now. Devotional service is what?
So in one, okay, after performing the Sanatana dharma, he can liberate only.
Sanatana dharma liberates a person. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, what liberates a person out of this world is actually bhakti. That is devotional service. That is Sanatana dharma. Like that. The goal of Varnashrama dharma is bhakti. There are many places you will see in future shlokas and purports. Prabhupada will say it very clearly, quoting from Vishnu Puran, quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam. The famous shloka, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo. The Paro Dharma, the highest dharma, is to offer unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service to Adhokshaja, that is Lord Krishna. Like that. Is this clear, the two types of swadharmas? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Varnashrama and Sanatana dharma. It's important for you to remember this for your exams too. Okay. So Krishna further tells about this. What discussion here in Karma Kanda is actually about Varnashrama dharma. In other words, if you have to put it. So Krishna tells the beauty of following the Shastra, the Varnashrama, the Karma Kanda. The beauty is here, that how it helps one to elevate. It's elevating. Slowly, the consciousness is becoming more and more refined. It's becoming more obedient to Shastras. Earlier, it was careless. It was, whimsical. No, I don't want to follow anything. But slowly, it is now understanding that, yeah, I have to follow Shastras. And he's following it for the goal of material enjoyment. But he also hears something about going beyond the world, how this world is not a better place to live. So hearing this kind of knowledge and also getting association of those who are aiming beyond this world, especially the devotees, it helps a person to elevate. This is the beauty of following Varnashrama dharma or Vedic culture. So it's a very broad spectrum. Even if a person is seeking material enjoyment, he's also encouraged to follow Vedic culture. Why? For the gradual elevation. That is elevation surely. So Krishna tells in the next shloka about some of the benefits of following Varnashrama. Yadhrachaya chopapannam Vargadvaram apavritam Sukhina kshatriya partha Labhante yuddhamidrisham. Like Arjuna, just understand this, hey Partha, that you are getting an opportunity to fight according to religion. It's a dharma yuddha. You're fighting it. And what will be the result of fighting? You will get elevation. Even if you die, you will go to Swarga. The next life will be a great enjoyment for you. Why do you think you are not having enjoyment here? You are telling that, oh, even if I win the battle, I will not get enjoyment. Why do you say so? If you win, you get this kingdom. And if you die, you will go to heavens. In the next life, surely you're going to have great happiness. Even, it's not about lose-lose situation. It's a win-win situation. Hey Partha, Sukhina Kshatriya Partha. In fact, Kshatriyas become very happy when they get an opportunity to fight for a religious cause. So you should not desist or you should not leave this fight. Read the translation.
Can I read the...
Yes.
Let Mataji complete. Next one onwards, other devotee.
Okay. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
Yeah. So Prabhupada says in the argument, he in fact very nicely puts, in a conversation mode. Krishna says here, please read this. I do not find, from here can you read?
I do not find any good in this fighting. it will cause perpetual habitation in hell.
This is what Arjuna told. This is what was thinking of Arjuna. Now, how Krishna is explaining that? That comes ahead. Please read.
Such statements by Arjuna were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Kshatriya, to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of fools.
How is it that you're standing in the battlefield? You are a Kshatriya, you're entitled to protect, you fight for a religious, and you're saying non-violence? It's such a foolish thing you're doing, Arjuna. In fact, Prabhupada quotes some Dharma Shastras like Parashara Smriti, where it tells about the duty of Kshatriya. Please read the translation of this, the Kshatriya's duty.
The Kshatriya's duty is to protect the citizens from all kinds of difficulties. And for that reason, he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus with religious principles, he should rule over the world.
So he will have to apply violence to perform his duty. And that's perfectly allowed. He should rule over the world. Kshitim dharmena palayet. Kshiti means earth. In another way, if you have to see, Kshiti means earth. And one who protects earth by dharma, he is Kshatriya. That's also another explanation. So Prabhupada says, considering all this, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from fighting. Very interesting. In fact, he should fight and enjoy the kingdom. If he conquers and if he dies, he will go to heavens, whose doors are wide open to him. Swargada dwaram apavritam. Arjuna, you fight the battle and Swarga is for you. So what a wonderful this thing it is. So fighting is for his benefit, either in this life or in the next life. So Prabhu Krishna is giving a relatively material reasoning. It's not a transcendental reasoning, but it's really important to inspire a person to take to his duties. So in that sense, Krishna is giving a lesser platform compared to the earlier discussed Sankhya, but the thrust is to take to fight, like that. So in the shloka next, Krishna tells about if you don't fight, what will happen, Arjuna? That's far dangerous, in fact. Atha chetvam imam dharmyam.
Atha chetvam imam dharmyam.
Sangramam na karishyasi.
Sangramam na karishyasi.
Tata swadharmam kirtim cha.
Tata swadharmam
Hitva papam avapsyasi. Arjuna, it's not that by fighting you are gaining papa. In fact, by not fighting, you will commit papa. You will do sin. Because you don't do your duties, you will bear sinful reactions. If you fight, whether you win or lose, beneficial. If you don't fight, it is going to give you papa. Not just papa in the next life. Even in this life, it's going to destroy your fame. It's going to destroy your reputation. Another devotee would like to take up?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please, yeah.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada in the purport explains Arjuna was no less capable warrior. He was a very powerful warrior. In fact, you may remember in Mahabharata, Arjuna has gained so many weapons. He has fought with great personalities like Lord Shiva himself. He fought, in that forest tenure. He fought with Shiva, who came in the disguise of a hunter, and he in fact matched him in the fight. And Shiva became very happy and gave a very special astra. Any of you know?
Yes, Prabhuji, that Pashupati.
Pashupati is the name of Shiva. Pashupatastra he gave. And Arjuna was so, even in his childhood, he was so great fighter that Drona, who just had seen the great quality of eagerness to learn, the good character to hold the knowledge and determination to practice the knowledge. He had seen it. Even in the night time, Arjuna would practice. Just see, I'm able to eat even when there is no light. That means my hand is practiced to put food in the mouth. So I should become such an expert player of bow and arrow that I should be able to shoot even in darkness. So he started practicing even in the night. Seeing such a determination, Drona became so happy. Such a wonderful student, such an eager student, and he has such good character also. He has such good sense control also. So Drona gives everything he knew to Arjuna. So much so that his own son, Ashwathama, he started envying Arjuna. You know why? You know why Arjuna became envious of, Ashwathama became envious of Arjuna?
Because his father used to treat Arjuna in separately. I mean,
yeah,
with
he would
more
give him special knowledge actually.
Mm.
And usually a father gives special things to his son, and Drona was also attached to the son. But seeing the extraordinary, yeah, please.
Yeah, he gave Brahmastra to Arjuna first, not to.
Correct. That's true. Yeah, Brahmastra he gave to Arjuna. He did not teach it to Ashwathama. Actually, Ashwathama only learned half. You know. So, seeing the extraordinary qualities of Arjuna, even Drona gave everything he knew to Arjuna. In fact, there is an instance in the forest life of Pandavas wherein Arjuna goes to heavens to fight on the side of Devas against demons called Nivata Kavachas. And he helps the Devas win over them. And seeing this, Indra becomes super happy. In fact, Indra's son only, Arjuna is in one sense. But Indra becomes so happy that he grants him special weapons, special, powers actually. He gives him great enjoyment too. So Prabhupada lists all of them. And Arjuna is so very qualified. And imagine that he leaves the battle. How much infamy will come on him? I know one thing is, okay, you leave it because you don't have capacity. But after having so much of ability or capacity, you leave the battlefield. That would be like losing all one's fame, good name. It is told that in Varnashrama, say suppose a Kshatriya, if he loses fame, that is as good as death. If a Brahmana, if he hears even a verbal insult, it's as good as death. For a Kshatriya, if you insult, if he gets defaming, if he's chastised, hey, you're a coward, like that and all, he considers it as bad as death. And if for a Vaishya, it is told, if someone has to punish a Vaishya, you take away money from him. You take away, because he's very attached to it, Brahmana is very refined. If someone just indicates his displeasure by words, he considers it as that. For Kshatriya, by wrong words or insulting words. For Vaishya, you deprive him of wealth, tax and all. And for a Shudra, you really physically punish because he's very attached to the body. So like this, there are different levels of punishment for different types of people because they have their different mentalities, is it not? So, Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya. And when you hear such words of infamy, see, Arjuna is a coward, he left the battlefield in fear, and it will be so painful for you, it's better that you die. You will practically consider yourself as dead when you hear such words. So better is that you fight, Arjuna. So like this, Krishna is giving an instruction. In fact, he goes on to say further about what kind of infamy he will receive when he leaves the battlefield. Akirtim chapi bhutani.
Akirtim chapi bhutani.
Kathayishyanti te vyayam. Sambhavitasya cha kirtir.
Samvedasya chapitvam
Maranadatirichyate.
Maranadatirichyate.
See, Arjuna, you people don't think that you left the battlefield out of great compassion. They see your action and they will think Arjuna left because he was fearful of cowardice. He left because he was like a coward. So like this people will speak, and this kind of infamy will be equivalent to death for you. Akirtihi maranad atirich. In fact, death is far better than hearing such insulting words, Arjuna. Read the translation.
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
Yeah. So Prabhupada says the same thing in the purport. People will call you bad names, that you left the battlefield. Better is you die. Don't leave the battlefield. Better you die. So in fact, you may have observed this in a cultured society. There is a great stress on living in a dignified life. This is not some false pride or false ego, ahankara, not like that. It's a fame of following the religious principles. In fact, that's required. Like we are all devotees. In one sense, because we've started practicing devotional service, people expect us to behave in some way, right, in the society. Say, suppose when we go out in some places where people are behaving ruckus, and where you stand, then they will think, oh, how will this person behave? In fact, in the companies, in the social functions, they will always observe how this person behaves. He seems to show himself as a devotee. How will he behave? And if we behave wrongly, they will come and say, "Aisa aapse nirikshan hi tha. We did not expect this from you." Sometimes they say. And that kind of fear, oh, the other person will notice me. And in fact, he will say like this. This is a good, healthy fear. You know why? Any of you can guess why it's good?
So that we won't do any mistake.
It's a fear which will stop us from doing any mistake or wrong activity. That's important. That's important. So Arjuna is told about such fear of insult. It is important. So Krishna is, just see what all angles of vision Krishna is giving for Arjuna's action to fight. In fact, going ahead, he says, people will not see your noble intention. You may say, "Arey, I am not fighting because I adore my elders. I don't want to harm them." Arey, people don't see that. People, general, what do they see? How did this person act? And they see the actions, they don't see the intentions. That's why it's important that in our actions, one should be proper. And intentions are very difficult to see for people in general, is it not? So Krishna says, Bhayad ranad uparatam.
Bhayad ranad uparatam.
Mamsyante tvam maharatha.
Mamsyante tvam maharatha.
Yesham chatvam bahumato.
Yesham chatvam bahumato.
Bhutva yasyasi laghavam. So Krishna, Arjuna, know this, that people will think you left the battlefield Rana because of Bhaya. Bhayad ranad uparatam. That's what people will think. Mamsyante, you are a Maharatha. You are a Athirata Maharatha. You are so capable of killing so many soldiers alone. And people will think you ran out of fear. They don't see your intention. So better is that you fight. Yesham chatvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. They will think you have become so low. You have become a laghavam. Laghavam means insignificant. You consider yourself like that. Read the translation.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
Who all will consider, Krishna will say, Prabhupada says the name, Duryodhana, Karna. Remember Arjuna, how much they are waiting for insulting all of you? They will think like this and they will spread this word. It's better that you die in the battlefield. Do not leave the battlefield, Arjuna. In one of the purport, in one of the lectures, Prabhupada says one instance. There was a king, a Rajput king, who had gone to fight against another Rajput king. Rajputs are known for great chivalry, Rajasthan, Rajputs and all. So when he had gone, the other party was so big in number, the number of soldiers. And it was almost very clear when this king was going that I may mostly get defeated or killed. So when he went, the queen was waiting in the palace for the news of what happened in the battle. So usually when a battle concludes, there is an indication of which team, which side won the battle. There are specific sounds they make. They are very typical of them. So she was waiting. There was no sound coming yet. That means battle was ongoing. And she suddenly heard from one of her maids, Sakhis, that, "Oh Rani, Raja has come back home." Prabhupada tells this in a lecture. Who has come back home? Who has come back home? The maid told.
Raja.
The king. The king who had gone to fight has come back home. So then, without thinking twice, without even turning her head, the king actually was a little distant and he was able to hear the words of the queen. He was still a little far, but she had not turned her face towards the king. And she told, "How is it possible? The battle has not ended. And how could my husband come home? He cannot leave the battlefield out of fear. Better that he dies. I am ready to become a widow if it is that he has to get defeated in the battle." As soon as the king husband, he heard this, he understood, my God, I left the battle out of fear to protect my life, but my wife doesn't accept this. So he went back to fight. Prabhupada says this in lecture, and actually he, in that great spirit, he kills the enemy, the king, and he comes back home, and there is a great celebration, and he comes and thanks his wife. Just see the wife of a king, she is so fixed on this principle. My husband is going for the battlefield. I may not accept, be able to see him. If he gets, most probably he may die. But she knows, fine, he's going to higher destination, and that's his dharma, and I should be following my dharma. So such were the principles actually. Though it is karma kanda which we are seeing here, please appreciate the aspect of duty, the higher duty. And today, hardly people have such principles. So when we hear them, wow, so great. This is one of the stages of yoga ladder, just karma kanda. It's just second stage. Further higher motivation. So Arjuna, people will think you ran out of fear. Don't do this. And don't say such intentions of compassion and all. Do your duty. That will give good fame to you, good destination for you, even in next life. So Krishna goes on to say what all people will speak and how painful it will be for you to hear them. Avachyavadamscha bahun vadishyanti tavahita nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkhataram nu kim. Arjuna, these all people will speak such bad words, avachyavada. They will do so much ninda to you. It will be so dukkhataram. It will be so painful to you to hear them. Read the translation.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
Yeah. What could be more painful for you when you hear You are so capable, and when people speak such bad words, which is so untrue, how much painful it will be to you. Better, Arjuna, better you fight, because if you fight and you die, you get Swarga. Hato va prapsyasi Swargam.
Hato va
prapsyasi swargam.
See, hata means to get killed or died. What he will attain? Prapsyasi Swargam. Okay, if you don't get killed, that means you win. Jitva va bhokshyase mahim. आप जीत लोगे तो you win over the whole kingdom. Bhokshyase mahim. Tasmad uttishta kaunteya. Yuddhaya krita nishchaya. Like a conclusion of this line of thought. What line of thought is this?
Yuddhaya krita nichchaya.
Swadharma line of thought. Basically, the perspective of Swadharma is concluding here. Earlier was Sankhya perspective or the soul perspective. Here now is Swadharma perspective. So, please read the translation. O son of Kunti.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
Either you get killed or you win on the battlefield. Both are beneficial for you. But running away from the battlefield is only and only degradation in this world and in the next world. So at the end, Krishna says, no matter what happens in the battle, Arjuna, fight. Better it be it sukha or dukkha, labha, or you lose, you stand to lose or a loss, jaya or apajaya. Fight, because I am saying you fight. Sukha dukkhe same kritva.
Sukha dukkhe same
kritva. Labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva. Naivam papam avapsyasi. By fighting like this, not considering the result, that is sukha, dukkha, labha, alabha, ya loss, jaya, apajaya, by thinking just to have the determination to fight, not caring for the results, that will never give you sinful reaction. Naivam papam avapsyasi. See, the third reason of Arjuna to not fight is fear of sinful reaction. In fact, Krishna starts addressing it even in this particular section itself. You are thinking that you will get sinful reaction by fighting and killing your elders. That's your reason. But I say, by not doing your duty, you get sin. Krishna proposes that from Shastra. Read the translation, Mataji. Do thou.
Yes, Prabhu. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
See, this attitude of doing one's duty without considering results is very, very fundamental even for devotional service, is it not? Like when we practice devotional service, when we do chanting, when we do some seva, when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, no matter whether we are experiencing the great change, if you do it properly, surely that is guaranteed. But whether we experience the transformation or not, but because we are doing the right thing, that is our duty as a spirit soul, I have to worship and serve the Supreme. That itself should be one's good impetus for one's actions, actually. So similarly, fight for the sake of fighting. So Prabhupada gives a very nice connection to devotional service here. Read the highlighted part, Arjuna.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will read. Yeah. Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness, so there is no reaction to material activities.
Just see here, Prabhupada says this, when activities are performed for the sake of Krishna, for pleasing Krishna, because Krishna has spoken them, one should do this. Because the Krishna's representative Guru speaks them, one should do this, chanting the holy names, getting up early and worshipping the deities, celebrating wonderful festivals as all of you have done wonderfully. Or like this, reading Shastras, remembering him. This is so very actually right action for a spirit soul to do. That's the duty of the spirit soul. And by doing them, one will not be incurring any sinful activities. So Prabhupada goes to quote that one may be in this world doing so many activities which are like, oh, this person has done something good for me, I should pay back to him by doing some good work for as a reaction, as a gesture of gratitude to him. Like in this world, when we are living, we receive so many things from so many people. Is it not? Like from parents, we receive the body. My mother and father have given the body. They have given me good culture. They have taught me basic education, values, many things. The teachers have given me right knowledge. Is it not? My elders have given me right samskaras. And so many things, the sages have given me shastras, like Vyasa, so many rishis have given me shastras. My relatives have wished well and given good advices. And the government is protecting my basic fundamental rights. So all these people, in fact, the devatas are providing so many facilities for my living. My senses are functioning, my nearby area is well facilitated, good rains are happening, water, air, all this is coming. We are grateful to so many people. And it's a very important duty of a person to acknowledge the gifts and do something as a gesture of gratitude. We have the rina. Rina means debt. Rina. We are all rinis in that sense. So one may desire to do something to pay back, but how much and how many can you pay back? So we all have the feeling of gratitude, but most importantly, if we serve Krishna, who is actually providing everything through these people, through parents, through friends, through teachers, through devas, through sages. It is Krishna who is protecting and nourishing us, is maintaining us. If we offer our love and service to Krishna and yet maintain the spirit of gratitude to all, that itself is actually purifying. That's the one great way to express our gratitude to all. Prabhupada shows this. Why is he speaking this? Because see, in this world, when we are doing some duties, we do duties as a matter of acknowledging their gifts to us. Like Krishna has given such a wonderful facility. Let me express my gratitude. Let me be dutiful. At least do what they have said. This is the basic attitude in doing duty. Is it not? Oh, I should follow my parents. I should follow shastras. I should follow my guru. These are the dutiful attitudes. Why? Because we feel a great feeling of indebtedness. That rina, we feel like that. Yes, that is true. But we cannot, practically speaking, please everyone or try to act to satisfy everyone. We should try, and we're not telling that one should not try. But the most powerful method, which actually elevates everyone, is to offer our love and service to the root, to the source of all nourishment, that is Krishna, that is Mukunda, that's told here. So when one serves Krishna without considering one's results, one's feelings, no problem, I just continue serving Krishna. That itself is such a right action that no sin will incur on you, O Arjuna. Like that Krishna is assuring Arjuna, fight for the sake of fighting. That is your swadharma. So just to revise, we have been seeing this particular section of karma kanda, which is a duty-laden life, which is varnashrama, following the duty or dharma of kshatriya, karma kanda. You know? So, what are the benefits one gains by following one's duty, as was told by Krishna to Arjuna?
He will be get
Happiness.
heaven.
Liberated.
Liberated, okay. No, not fully liberated in that sense. Okay, he will not get sinful.
He can get the heaven.
Gradually in that sense. He will go to heavens. Yeah. He will go to heavens, or he will enjoy enjoyment in this world. Is it not like that? What will he stand to lose if he doesn't do duties?
He will be insulted by
He will get the sinful reaction.
Infamy.
He will get sinful reaction. He will get infamy. You know, many things like that. Huh? So though it appears to be a material platform, but it's something helpful for a person to be fixed in his doing duties. Okay. So now going ahead, Krishna explains the further step, the higher motive in doing one's duty. It is called as Buddhi Yoga. The technical term which Krishna says is Buddhi Yoga, which is equivalent to Nishkama Karma Yoga. Okay, so please mark it from shloka number 39 onwards. It is the Buddhi Yoga. So what is it? Let's see from Krishna.
Prabhuji, the Karma Kanda and Sakam Karma is same then?
No, they're not same. Karma Yoga is broadly divided into two, Nishkama and Sakama. Nishkama is a perfectional stage, and Krishna speaks from this angle actually. But in Karma Yoga as such, there are some generic principles which will come. I will explain that. Okay. Karma Kanda is different and Karma Yoga is different. I already explained what's the difference in Karma Yoga. Who remembers?
Yoga, it adds yoga, which means you are working towards
Meditation.
liberation.
Not meditation.
No, it's
helps
you.
He discharges duties for
Liberation.
happiness.
No. You are working towards liberation.
You're working towards it. The goal of one's life is liberation, not happiness of this world. That's the yoga aspect. So in Sakama is like it's a beginning stage, it's a practicing stage, and it slowly, when one attains perfection, it becomes Nishkama stage. And in Nishkama also there are further stages, many like that. So anyway, let's go to Krishna's words and see what is this Buddhi Yoga. So please remember, Buddhi Yoga means Nishkama Karma Yoga. That equivalence you should put it. So text 39. Esha te bhita sankhye.
Esha te bhita sankhye.
Buddhir yoge tvimam shruno. Buddhya yukto yaya partha.
Buddhya yukto yaya partha.
Karma bandham prahasyasi. So Krishna says, Eshate abhihita. Till now I explained. Abhihita means I explained. Now what did I explain? Sankhya. Where did he explain Sankhya?
Till 30, Prabhuji.
Till 30, correct. You remember it well. Now onwards, I am telling a different topic. Buddhir yoge tvimam shrunu. I am talking about Buddhir yoga, Buddhi yoga. Because this is far advanced. Buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahat. If one engages in this world by buddhi, hey partha, this karma bandhana, karma bandham, the bondage of activities, action and reaction, one will be relieved from that. So which reason of Arjuna is it addressing? Which reason of Arjuna is it addressing?
Sinful reaction, Prabhuji.
Reactions, fear of reactions, sinful reactions, it's addressing actually. So here starts the third argument's refutation by Krishna. So what is this Sankhya? Sankhya actually, we saw it already. The difference between body and soul and the nature of the spirit, soul, all that Prabhupada explained. Someone else would like to take up the translation reading? Thank
Yes,
you, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I can.
Please read.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through an analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Partha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
See, Prabhupada, how does it translate Buddhi Yoga in the translation? Working without fruitive results. Technically, this is called Nishkama Karma Yoga. That's why I told Buddhi Yoga is equivalent to Nishkama Karma Yoga. And Prabhupada also will equate it to Bhakti Yoga. I'll explain that a little later. So, what is this Sankhya? We already have seen this. Arjuna was thinking that he will not fight. And what was the reason? He was thinking, oh, actually, if I fight, I will be harming them. But later, even if a person, a king, desires to fight, he is desiring to become happy. Both such methods of thinking are having in mind what makes a person happy. That is sense gratification. To think that, oh, if I fight, it will be so painful for me, is sense gratification. To think, oh, if I fight, I will get a lot of enjoyment afterwards, is also sense gratification. Is it not? So just now we saw that, right? What did we saw? What did we see? That was the aspect of karma kanda. So what is that? That is desiring sense gratification, is it not? So both of them, whatever Arjuna thinks, they are based on sense gratification. So Prabhupada says here, please read this, Mataji, forgetting his
prime duty, he wanted to ease fighting because he thought that by not killing his relatives and kinsmen, he would be happier than by enjoying the kingdom after conquering his cousins, the son of Dhritarashtra's. In both ways, the basic principle were for sense gratification. Happiness derived from conquering them and happiness derived by seeing kinsmen alive are both on the basis of personal sense gratification, even at a sacrifice of wisdom and duty.
So Prabhupada explains in this particular purport very detailedly about how one should actually act in knowledge, not act out of sense gratification. Acting out of sense gratification means one doesn't have proper knowledge. He ignores the knowledge. What knowledge? The knowledge of eternality of spirit, soul. So that knowledge was given by Krishna in the very beginning. He told how we are all actually individual persons. We are individuals in past, present, and future, continue to do so. We change our body, but our individuality as Atma is there always, even in liberated state. So this kind of analysis was given by Krishna. Now, this analysis itself is called Sankhya, as we have already seen. Now, sometimes there are some people who explain Bhagavad-Gita in an atheistic manner. Why so? They sometimes equate the Sankhya Yoga chapter to an atheistic philosophy, which is also called as Sankhya, which is spoken by a person of recent past by name Kapila. There is one Kapila whom Srimad Bhagavatam describes, who is a son of Devahuti. He spoke the true Sankhya, the Bhagavata Sankhya. But some of the people, they refer to the Sankhya Yoga of second chapter of Bhagavad Gita as that of the recent Sankhya who spoke atheism. You remember this, that Sankhya, it analyzes the whole world into 24 elements. Any of you know what are those 24 elements? Just a broad listing of them.
Yes, Prabhuji. Five elements: earth, water, air.
Pancha Mahabhuta, yes.
Pancha Mahabhuta. 5 senses.
5 senses. What senses?
Ears, nose, and tongue, skin, eyes, and 5 sense objects. vision, touch,
Okay.
The sound, and taste and smell.
Okay.
And
And
five working senses.
five karmendriya.
Working senses. Someone told
Voice,
working
legs, hands, anus, and genitals.
Very good. That's for working senses.
And mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Mind, intelligence, and false ego. 23.
And one soul.
No. Soul is not included. Sorry.
Ahankara.
I think all material nature.
Ahankara.
Ahankara ho gaya, Prabhuji. Mind, intelligence, false ego. False ego is ahankara, no?
Sun and moon, Prabhuji.
Someone please.
Sun and moon, Prabhuji.
Say again.
Sun and moon.
No, not sun and moon. Sun and moon, they don't come.
Prabhuji, modes of material nature?
Modes of material nature. What do you call it exactly? It's called chitta, avyakta. It is called avyakta actually. So yes, it's an unmanifested state of modes of material nature, which is listed in 13th chapter. So these 24 elements are all matter. There is no consciousness in this. The soul is not part of 24 elements. So when a person analyzes the whole world in 24 elements, is he seeing spirit soul? No. He doesn't accept spirit soul. The spirit soul is actually 25th element. So one who only limits his understanding to 24 elements, he doesn't understand spirit soul. And is there only spirit soul which makes this world functional? Or is there something higher? What do you think?
Can you repeat your question, Prabhuji?
Is the soul itself making the whole world functional? Animating, doing its duty?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Or is there something higher?
And the Supreme Soul.
There is Supreme Soul. That is Paramatma. That's 26th element. And Srimad Bhagavatam's Sankhya, which is given by Kapila, who is the son of Devahuti, he tells about these 24 elements plus soul plus super soul. The Sankhya which he explains in Srimad Bhagavatam is the true Sankhya. It is called Bhagavata Sankhya, which actually takes a person closer to the Supreme Lord. But if one only studies Sankhya as 24 elements, chalo, that's it. It's not taking one to beyond this world. It's just keeping him in this world. He just understands, analyzes, okay, what next? What is your goal? He's just there here. He doesn't even understand about soul. Is it not? So Krishna, when he's talking about Sankhya, has he spoken about soul? You all heard, na? So far, Sankhya in 2nd chapter.
Yes, Prabhuji. Differentiate between the soul and the body.
Differentiate between the soul. That's not the Sankhya which atheistic Kapila speaks. I hope you are able to now understand two types of Kapila, two names, two personalities Kapila. One is a recent person. He is atheistic in his explanations. His explanations are only limited to 24 elements. And the one who is of Satya Yuga, son of Devahuti and Kardama, who comes in Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto, his explanations have 24 elements plus soul plus super soul. So he is true Sankhya speaker. So that's why Prabhupada titled that teachings of Lord Kapila. He wrote below the son of Devahuti, so that people don't mistaken it. And actually, in Vedic tradition, this atheistic Sankhya is very famous actually. So Prabhupada says in this part, if you see carefully, this Sankhya which Krishna explained has nothing to do with the philosophy of atheistic Kapila. To explain this, I was giving that background. Okay, so this atheistic Kapila, he had spoken only, it's a materialistic philosophy actually. just analysis of the matter. But what is spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam, who is Kapila, he is the incarnation of Lord Krishna, Shaktyavesh Avatara. He is actually speaking the true Sankhya, explaining about the Purusha, Prakriti in detail. So what Krishna explains as Sankhya in Bhagavad-gita and what Kapila explains as Sankhya in Srimad Bhagavatam are same, because their purpose is same. But it is not the same as what?
Atheist philosophy.
Atheistic philosophy. So please note this difference. Okay. So Prabhupada gives another explanation here. Please read this highlighted part.
Yes, Prabhuji. All these individuals are working in the material world for sense gratification. And under the spell of material energy, they are thinking of being enjoyers. This mentality is dragged to the last point of liberation when the living entity wants to become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of Maya or sense gratificatory illusion. And it is only after many, many births of such sense gratificatory activities that a great soul surrenders onto Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, thereby fulfilling the search after the ultimate truth.
So I'm sure that you had in Ishopanishad, in one of the last mantras, there was a gradation of these philosophies. Any of you remember that? Hare Krishna. There was gradation of Sankhya, Jnana. Any of you know? Hare Krishna. Maybe if you had.
It talked about avidya and vidya.
That was much before. This is coming in mantra 16, 17, that part. That vidya came in 9 to 11, 12 to 14. So maybe just for all of your revision, there was a systematic progression shown there. So Sankhya, which analyzes the matter, when it is not coupled with understanding of soul and super soul, it actually is telling about matter and it makes a person be in this world only. But when a person aims to go to jnana, understand this, this jnana, this is the Sankhya which Krishna explained. He told about soul here. And often people at this stage, they go towards impersonal Brahman. Krishna did not say that part. He just explained about the soul. And when they understand about soul, they want to go beyond this world, Brahma Jyoti. And beyond jnana is the stage of yoga. Here, yoga means Ashtanga Yoga. What do the Ashtanga Yoga people attain? See this?
Attached to
Nirvana.
With meditation.
Nirvana is something, there. But in the perfection of Ashtanga Yoga, Samadhi, they attain actually Paramatma.
Brahman.
No, Brahman is Jnana. Okay.
But they attain that Paramatma form.
Paramatma, yeah. They are meditating on the form of Paramatma.
Mystic yogis.
Yes, mystic yoga, like that, yes. And when they go higher, their understanding further evolves, they come to Bhakti. And it is told that to come to this stage, it takes many, many, many lives of practice. And then by practice of Bhakti, which is by default here understood as Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service, then a person attains Bhagavan. This hierarchy should be understood. That's what Prabhupada is speaking here. One may endeavor on the platform of Sankhya, of being enjoyers, in this world for sense gratification. And then he goes to Jnana. And somewhere he may fall trapped into this point of liberation, like that. But beyond that, if one, perseveres, then he goes to the stage of surrendering to Vasudeva. That's what is explained here. So please note this hierarchy which is told here. So what Prabhupada is trying to do, this Buddhi Yoga which is explained, this Buddhi Yoga is far higher than this Karma Kanda all these stages. So this karma kanda, this is all fixed on one sense gratification. But buddhi yoga, which Krishna is explaining from this shloka onwards, is on the knowledge of spirit soul. So Prabhupada tells, now onwards Krishna is explaining the working process in buddhi yoga, or what is written here? See,
Karma yoga.
So all these are equivalent words, so you should not get confused on this. Buddhi yoga, karma yoga. Prabhupada will also equate it to devotional service. The practice of devotional service only for the sense gratification of Lord. Actually, Krishna later says one shloka in 10th chapter, Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam. There he tells a further higher understanding of Buddhi Yoga, which is actually Bhakti Yoga itself. That's what Prabhupada gives here itself. So, actually to speak, Buddhi Yoga means working in knowledge. Buddhi means knowledge, Yoga means to act. So, to truly speaking, working in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, working in the knowledge of eternality of spirit soul. This is Buddhi Yoga. So Prabhupada says this, that truly a Buddhi Yoga is practiced at the stage of Krishna consciousness, which is the highest stage actually. So Lord says here that only to the Bhakti Yogis who are practicing devotional service, to them only that pure Buddhi Yoga is awarded. So to say in brief, what is Buddhi Yoga? Buddhi Yoga is nothing but devotional service. And of course, here it mentions about Sankhya doesn't mean the imposter Kapila like that. Read this highlighted part, Mataji. Sankhya
Yes,
means?
Prabhuji. Sankhya means analytical description of the body and the soul. Lord Krishna made an analytical description of the soul just to bring Arjuna to the point of Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Lord Krishna's Sankhya and the Lord Kapila's Sankhya, as described in the Bhagavatam, are one and the same. They are all Bhakti Yoga.
See, anyway, I'll make that point a little later. One should therefore understand that Buddhi Yoga means to work in Krishna consciousness in full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. So Prabhupada practically equates Buddhi Yoga to the devotional service. So one thing we should note here, I'm just trying to put that chart of yoga ladder for proper explanation on it. 1 minute. Yeah. So in this chart of yoga ladder, after karma kanda, a person has the knowledge, proper knowledge of spirit soul. And his goal of life is very clear. He may not be fully pure, but at least he is clear in his knowledge. That is why from the stage of karma yoga or nishkama karma yoga, all the stages above are sometimes referred as buddhi yoga. So sometimes jnana yoga also is called buddhi yoga. Ashtanga yoga is also called buddhi yoga. And bhakti yoga is surely called buddhi yoga. So one should not get confused on how Prabhupada equates bhakti yoga to sometimes buddhi yoga. Sometimes he equates it to karma yoga. Sometimes he equates it to even dhyana yoga also in 6th chapter you will see. So truly speaking, bhakti yoga is the most evolved consciousness. It has all the positives of these lower sections, and it has something which is not there in other sections below. So the aspect of not being attached to the results of one's activity is there very much in bhakti yoga. It's there very much in bhakti yoga. That aspect comes from where? From which section of this yoga ladder?
Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Nishkam Karma Yoga. Very right. Very right. So the aspect of following the Vedic Shastras is very much there in Bhakti Yoga. That aspect comes from which section?
Buddhi Yoga.
It starts from Karma Kanda. With Karma Kanda, you start following Shastra, no? You start becoming obedient to Shastras and all. And in every section above that element continues. In Gnana Yoga, Ashtanga, that element continues, is it not? So, practically speaking, every section above takes the positives of the lower section and takes ahead. In that sense. So, Bhakti Yoga can also, so Nishkama Karma Yoga can be called as Bhakti Yoga in that sense. I hope all of you are appreciating this names equivalence, you know. So, is it that Prabhupada calling everything as Bhakti Yoga, reducing everything to Bhakti Yoga? No, it is not. He's actually defining it in most refined sense. So one should appreciate this part. Sometimes people have this comment, "Are just see Prabhupada, he tells every shloka as Bhakti Yoga only in Bhagavadgita. He tells even in 6th chapter where Krishna is describing about Ashtanga Yoga as Bhakti Yoga. He tells about Karma Yoga as Bhakti Yoga in 3rd chapter. He tells about Sankhya Yoga as Bhakti Yoga in 2nd chapter. Sometimes people have that objection. No, actually, Prabhupada, when he's explaining, he's seeing from the topmost view. Yeah, that is Bhakti Yoga. That element is there in Bhakti Yoga. But rise to the highest practice of yoga, that is Bhakti Yoga. That is the necessary instruction which Prabhupada is giving. Is that clear, Hare Krishna? Because going ahead, such kind of explanations you will see further. Okay.
So, Prabhuji, Bhakti Yoga start from Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Actually, Bhakti Yoga has all the elements of this. Like, as I told, the higher stage, it has the positives of the lower stage. Are you getting this?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Huh? Sorry?
No.
Confusing.
Confusing. Oh my God.
School ke
See, just see here. Bhakti Yoga, when a person is practicing devotional service, he is not attached to what will be the result of his service. Like Krishna is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, do this service of fighting. Do not worry about what will be the result of your service. Like a devotee is told, go and speak about Bhagavadgita. Prabhupada told, go and distribute books. Don't worry whether you are able to actually give the books or no, that the other person takes it or not. Go and speak about Bhagavad Gita. Is it not he told, right? And he's told not to worry about the results. The results are in Krishna's hand. We say, no? So this element is coming from where? It's there from Nishkama Karma Yoga. The element of not being attached to the results. That is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Are you getting this point, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. In Nishkama Karma Yoga, there is no aspect of devotion. There is no understanding of the service to Krishna. That aspect, understanding is not there. But in Bhakti Yoga, that is the something additional which comes. Like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it becomes further clear as we proceed to the further shlokas. Let's go now. See, now onwards, as I was telling, Krishna is explaining Buddhi Yoga. In the first 3 shlokas, that is 39, 40 and 41, Krishna explains the benefits of Buddhi Yoga. Before even talking about what is Buddhi Yoga, he tells what are its benefits. So in the shloka number 39, he told that by performing Buddhi Yoga, you will be freed from karma bandhana. He told that in the words shloka itself. You'll be freed from the bondage of work. And here in 40, a very famous shloka, very famous in that sense, he assures how this is never lost. The progress one makes in Buddhi Yoga is never lost. Even if he loses his material body of current state, still he will never lose the progress he makes in Buddhi. Neha bhikramana shosti.
Neha bhikramanaashti.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Pratyavayo na vidyate.
Swalpam apyasya dharmasya.
Swalpam apasya dharmasya.
Trayate mahato bhayat.
Trayate mahato bhayat.
So Krishna is telling here, in this path, even if you make a little step, abhikramaha, little advancement you make, it is never lost. Pratyavaya. It will never be destroyed. It will never reduce or it will never get destroyed. A little advancement made in the spot, swalpam apiyasya, little advancement, it will protect. Trayate mahato bhayat. From great danger, it protects. From great fear, it protects a person. Read the translation.
Prabhuji, in the endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement of this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
There is no loss, nashaha, diminution. Diminution means reducing, ghatna. So it never reduces what you have done. It is always there for you. And it never gets destroyed. Little advancement protects from danger of fear. Read the highlighted part.
Yes, Prabhuji. Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectations of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in the Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect even though not finished.
See, in the material work, if a person doesn't complete, then he cannot be given the benefits or fruits of that action. He has to complete that action. He has to successfully conclude it. And next life, he may not have the benefit of, oh, in the earlier life, I did my PhD. So in this life, I should already automatically get my PhD. No, that's not guaranteed. One has to start right from the beginning, education, and he has to, undergo all that efforts. But in spiritual life, Prabhupada says 1% done in Krishna consciousness is giving you permanent result. It's always there. 1% is your permanent asset. Now you make further progress from 1 to 2, that becomes your permanent asset. So when in the next life, when you get another body, you start from 2, you don't start from 0. Now, this is a very interesting calculation. So Prabhupada says, that way, there is success always. And one of the examples which Prabhupada gives here is Ajamila. We all know that Ajamila, he practiced devotional service in his young age, when he was young. But later, for a major part of his life, he was not practicing devotional service. Is it not? And later, when at the time of death, that still came to his help. And when he got the second chance, when the Yamadutas, understanding that these Vishnudutas have stopped us, they gave the second chance to him. Then he progressed from where he had stopped earlier. And he did not start from scratch. He had just had to progress from where he had stopped. And he completed his spiritual perfection and went back to God. So Prabhupada gives this example, Ajamila. There are many examples like this. So the point is, the spiritual success one attains, achievement one gains, it's never lost. In fact, the Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam says, you are doing material occupation, you're not doing devotional service, but that doesn't give you permanent gain. Do spiritual occupation, that is devotional service, that will be your permanent asset. Prabhupada gives a kind of a summary here. Please read this. Material activities.
Material activities and their results end with the body, but work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahman or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance for elevation.
So aristocratic means rich family. So a point here made is, whatever we do at the level of body, it ends with the body. I recently heard a very striking thing. There was a person, he is very close to my friend. He was at his age of 40, 45 or so. He was actually a PhD postdoc. And he had just finished his PhD, and he had put so much of effort to complete his doctoral thesis and many things like that. Unfortunately, by the arrangement of material energy, he suffered a paralysis, due to which, even in this body, whatever he tried to attain as education, knowledge, all that, he completely forgot what is his name. He forgot how to read or write, because the brain was affected, paralysis. He, in fact, is not even able to recollect alphabets. He doesn't even remember his name. Just see, at the level of body, how much ever we gain, it's very uncertain how long it will be there with us. Surely, this doesn't mean we don't try for, achievements at the level of body. We should try, but know that it is something which is going to end. That should not become the sole purpose of our life. At the same time, there are cases I have even seen, heard about cases where a person, a devotee, very striking, a Prabhupada disciple actually, her name is Mother Isha. You might have seen that video. So she also suffered what is called Parkinson's disease, in which a person actually completely forgets everything about his own. Very interestingly, she is able to, she had that great attachment whenever she was conscious. She would love to serve devotees, and she would be so absorbed in kirtan, especially in Tulsi Aarti. And now, when she is not even able to remember Krishna, not exactly in the sense of names of Shastras, all that, she keeps singing, murmuring that Tulsi Aarti Kirtan tune. How does that start? So she keeps murmuring that. She's so addicted to it. She doesn't even remember the name of her own self or her very dear people. But that has gone very deep, because that's something which is at the level of soul.
So sad, Prabhuji.
Yeah, sorry.
So sad, Prabhuji.
Yeah. See, the effects at the level of body we cannot change, but we cannot have much control about. But at the level of spirit, soul, whatever we invest is a permanent asset. So sometimes we hear Prabhupada mentions here material activities and their results end with the body. Sometimes even when the body is there, you see these results fading upwards, right? So this should make us understand the reality and should make our priorities very clear. Where we should invest, what we should keep as top priority in our life, like that. So Prabhupada is telling, even if a person cannot achieve success in spiritual path, at least in his next life, he is assured of a very good situation for his further spiritual progress. Knowing all this, one should actually make a firm resolve for spiritual progress. The Buddhi Yoga, that principle Prabhupada said. We will take one more shloka. Please bear today's extension of. Okay, I took a lot of time in other discussion. Okay, I hope it's okay. Another 5-6 minutes. Yeah. We'll take this shloka as last. Vyavasayatmika buddhir.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Ekeha
Guru Nandana.
Bahushaka hyanantascha.
Bahushaka hayantascha.
Buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Buddhayo avyasayinam.
So Krishna, in the first two shlokas, 39 and 40, he talked about the benefits of Buddhi Yoga. In fact, from 41, he starts describing what is that Buddhi Yoga. In Buddhi Yoga, person's Buddhi has to be fixed. It is having a clear purpose. Because Buddhi Yoga means what? Working with Buddhi or knowledge. So how is this Buddhi? It is so fixed, just as a person who has firmly resolved to increase his business, Vyavasaya. How much he always thinks about increasing his business. Like that, a person in Buddhi Yoga is fixed in his purpose. Yeah, I should do this activity because my goal is this. What is the goal? It will come further. But what is the nature of Buddhi? It is fixed. So for that, this shloka is told. It is not Bahushakha, it is Eka. Eka means singular. Like, sometimes you have this lens under which all the solar sun's rays converge into one point. Fixed, is it not? Singular. The power of focus. It can be seen even in material level also, is it? So fixed is this purpose of this Buddhi Yogi. It's as if a person who is desiring money, how much he thinks of increasing his profits always like that. He's not Bahushakha. Shakha means branch. He's not thinking, oh, little here, let me do a little spiritual life, let me do some yoga, let me do some, karma kanda, let me do some, materialism, let me do some. No, he is very fixed. His knowledge is very clear. And due to which it's not avyavasayi. He gains results because the nature of his buddhi is focused. Read the translation.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of Gurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched.
So for a Buddhi Yogi who is at the level of Nishkama Karma Yoga, his focus is, oh, I should get rid of these fruitive reactions. I should, rise above this bondage of fruitive reactions. For a person who is Buddhi Yogi at the level of Jnana Yoga, he is desiring liberation. Mukti chahiye, mukti. For a person who is Buddhi Yogi at the level of Ashtanga Yoga, his focus is, I want to attain the super soul. Sometimes he even may be distracted because of some siddhi. But for a person who is in Bhakti Yoga consciousness, though he's called Buddhi Yogi, his focus is to please Krishna. And Prabhupada explains this shloka from that viewpoint of Bhakti Yoga. In fact, this shloka is very special for the followers of Prabhupada. Any of you know why? That there is some connection with Srila Prabhupada because this shloka. Any of you know? Hare Krishna. Okay.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So Srila Prabhupada said to one of his disciples that this particular shloka, when he was studying, when he was translating, he read the commentary to the shloka by one of the acharyas, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who explains that the focus of a devotee, Bhakti Yogi, is to follow the instruction of Krishna's devotee, that is spiritual master. He considers the instruction of his spiritual master as one's life and soul. He thinks that if I am not following the instructions, that means I am not living. I am living means I should live only to fulfill my Guru's instructions. This level of focus a devotee has. When Srila Prabhupada read this commentary, he became very inspired. He says this, and he says that I took a firm determination to try to follow my spiritual master's instruction. He says this. This was when he was in India itself. So, Prabhupada faced so much of difficulties, yet he kept trying with that focus of following his Guru's instructions. So, Prabhupada in the purport tells about what is that Vyavasayatmika intelligence. Read this: a strong faith
A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called
Vyavasaya.
intelligence.
See, Vyavasaya we say, no? Vyavasaya. Vyavasaya means occupation. Vyavasaya. So Vyavasayatmika means one who is so much fixed on one's occupation or profit making. Vyavasaya. So such kind of absorption one should have. That is the nature of Buddhi Yoga. The Buddhi should be like that. Actually, Buddhi Yoga requires one to put faith on something which is sublime, not a gross thing or so. Because the basis is knowledge. So there should be faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. Very important here. See, devotional service is also having this element of Buddhi Yoga, working with knowledge. The knowledge there is that I should serve and please Krishna. I should serve and please my Guru. No longer what happens, be it success or failure, be it happiness or distress, that element is surely there in Bhakti Yoga. Not caring about the results, but working in knowledge. Just by doing this one activity with great focus, I am able to please all others. Just like by watering the root of the tree, one satisfies all the other branches, the parts of the tree, leaves, fruits, flowers. Similarly, by serving Krishna, this faith is there in a Buddhi Yogi, Bhakti Yogi. This by serving Krishna, I am satisfying all others who are actually part and parcels of that Krishna. So service in Krishna consciousness means following the orders of a bona fide spiritual master. You know, so that cannot be overlooked. In fact, bhakti means to follow under a bhakta, a true devotee of Lord. So one has to act firmly following the instructions of such a spiritual master. In fact, Prabhupada says it should be made as one's mission in life. Like, Srila Prabhupada, he made this practice for all the devotees that every day morning we chant these prayers to spiritual master. Samsara dava nalali dhaloka. In that the last line says this, Yasya prasadat Bhagavat prasadu. By pleasing him, Bhagavan is pleased. By not pleasing him, what is the hope? Surely Bhagavan is not pleased. Bhagavan, that here Krishna. So he means here the spiritual master. So spiritual master is representing Krishna. One should treat him as good as Krishna and one should serve him. And the last line says one should meditate, one should glorify, one should always think about at least 3 times in a day, 3 sandhyam. One should think about master. So this kind of focus should be there. Prabhupada very much wanted there should be Guru Puja, there should be Mangalarti. Why? Because there should be focus of a devotee on following one's Guru. So practically speaking, this Buddhi Yoga, which is needing the focus of a person in knowledge, is nothing but Bhakti Yoga if we understand that that focus is on Krishna. That's how Prabhupada equates it. Okay, so it's a very important purport, and further concepts are far more deep. I'll not take that because it's already late today. In the next class, we will discuss further aspects of Buddhi Yoga. So Buddhi Yoga, today we saw is a part of Yoga ladder. We saw the Karma Kanda stage in the shlokas 31 to 38. And then we started seeing the Karma Yoga stage, which is Buddhi Yoga, also explained as Bhakti Yoga. The benefits of following Bhakti Yoga, the first one is it frees one from Karma Bandhana. Second is there is no loss, there is no decrease of whatever one has attained in Buddhi Yoga. Just now we saw that 40 number shloka. And 41, very interesting, is that there is the nature of the Buddhi in Buddhi Yoga is focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Very important word. Sometimes in your tests also it's asked. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. What does it mean? So Prabhupada translates Vyavasayatmika buddhi, if you see very clearly, resolute intelligence. Resolute in Krishna consciousness. Resolute means focused. Resolute. Right.
Determination.
Determination. Yes, that's the word. Correct. So the focus, the sole goal of one's practice is pleasing Krishna. So that's the level of buddhi which should be there. Okay. So today I will stop here. We covered, I think, around 11 shlokas, quite less. Okay, we will try to continue and complete the next session. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we will meet next Friday. 6:30. So please give your choice for shloka test, 2-part or 1-part, and let's conclude on the dates of the first part of the test. Whatever, if it has to be only one, then at least that date we will discuss. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavadgita ki jai. Any comments or questions? We'll meet.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
We'll meet next
Dandavad
week.
Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.